I think you're making a little bit of a mistake. Now, there are two fronts I want to respond on. I can respond regarding myself, and I can respond regarding Tankies in general. In regards to myself, I have no interest in defending Stalin's personality and convincing anybody that Stalin was a good guy. I'm interested in defending socialism, not personalities. But you have to admit, the way socialism is presented in the United States, the argument generally is that it's failed everywhere it's ever been tried. It's created nothing but gulags and death and misery. And the response you generally get from socialists is, oh, that's all true, but I'm just so smart that I'll do it better. And that's a ridiculous argument. You look like a fool when you make that argument. You have to be able to deal with the history of the 20th century and point out that everything isn't completely black and white, that mistakes were made, but big achievements were made as well, like defeating the Nazis, like electrifying and industrializing an entire country. And that's the conversation I'm interested in having. I'm not interested in having conversations about Holodomor or the Moscow trials or anything like that. That's regarding me. However, when you characterize people who do question the historical narrative about the Soviet Union in this way, you need to recognize that you're talking about not just guys on the internet who might be obnoxious. Nelson Mandela was a Tankie. I will read you what Nelson Mandela said in 1986. Quote, "The Soviet Union is the torchbearer for all the hopes and aspirations. In the Soviet Russia, genuine people have been transformed from genuine people's power has been transformed from dreams into reality. The land of Soviets is a genuine friend and ally of all peoples fighting against the dark forces of world reaction." That's Nelson Mandela in 1986. So by saying that people that glorify the Soviet Union should be kicked out of your movement, you're disassociating from the African National Congress. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest scientists who ever lived, he gave a speech in 1942 called "What Russia Means to Us," where he spoke glowingly about the Soviet Union, how it protected national minorities like Jews. He himself was Jewish, and he saw how important the Soviet Union was in fighting anti-Semitism around the world. He talked about their achievements in science and how the Soviet state made a big point of subsidizing scientific research and development. And Christopher Hitchens denounced Albert Einstein, saying that his greatest flaw was his defense of the Stalinist regime in the Soviet Union. Helen Keller, read her autobiography and the glowing things that she says about Lenin and the Bolsheviks at the same time they were suppressing the anarchists and all of that. To write off people that associate themselves with the USSR and its achievements, or with China, or with Vietnam, or with Cuba, or North Korea. Yes, I said North Korea. You know, the Black Panthers sent delegations to North Korea. The Black Panthers studied Juche ideology. The Black Panthers waved Mao's Little Red Book. You should read Huey Newton's autobiography and see what he said about his time in China and how glowingly he speaks about Mao Zedong. Recognizing the achievements of existing socialism doesn't make you a lunatic, doesn't make you a wingnut. It makes you somebody who is open to understanding what's beyond capitalism. Now, my attitude toward these leaders is that we should study all of them and study both their failures and their achievements and blindly adhere and follow none of them. But as we move toward building socialism in the United States, we need to recognize the socialism here will be unique. We're not going to have Chinese socialism here. We're not going to have Russian socialism here. We're not going to have Venezuelan or Cuban socialism. When we have socialism in the United States, it will be a continuation of the progressive tradition. It will be the ideals of Frederick Douglass and John Brown and the suffragists and the labor movement. It will be that radical, anti-imperialist, anti-racist tradition of struggle in U.S. history taking power.